Welcome back for another episode of The Real Cinema Show. My name is Rob,
I'm Devin.
and on the show we talk about movies, like we always do. And Devin, this is a special episode.
Mm-hmm.
What number is this?
This is episode 18, I believe, right?
Yep. So does that mean our show is a grown adult now?
Yeah, it can join the military now, yes.
Nice, great. All right, so we have a lot to get into. This is a special episode. We're not going to do trailer reactions. You have a little fuzz right there.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's still there.
Okay.
We're not going to do trailer reactions. We're going to talk about the weekend recap,
Yes.
what movies we saw, and it's still there. I don't know why. Where is it?
I don't know what this
I don't know.
is. All right.
There's like a little fuzz thing in there. And then we're going to talk about our top 10 of the year.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're going to start from 10, and we're going to go all the way down to number 1 to our favorite movie. And then we'll talk about, movies that we, maybe we didn't get to see that we would still like to see.
Yes.
So yeah, Devin, let's kick it off with you. The weekend recap. What did you see this weekend?
So I saw The Fire Inside. It's the true story of Clarissa Shields from Flint, Michigan, who's a woman boxer who became the first American woman to have great success at the Olympics. It shows her early life leading up to what she does at the Olympics and what happens afterwards. Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty solid. It was a sports biopic, basically. Clarissa Shields, she was actually an executive producer on this movie,
Okay.
which I didn't know until I saw the credits afterwards.
Yeah.
She's played by Ryan Destiny, who does a great job at playing her. I saw a featurette afterwards that mentioned that she killed it in the audition, but she had no athletic training or experience in boxing or anything whatsoever.
Oh, interesting.
So she talked about how she did this grueling 6-month training to get into boxing shape and
That's cool.
to become the part. Because from the opening shot, it shows just this little young girl running in the snow in the cold Flint, Michigan, trying to run to the boxing gym where she practiced at.
Yeah.
It shows a lot of hardships that Clarissa dealt with growing up, unstable household dynamics, as I talked about in my At a Theater reaction. Not the easiest upbringing. She had a Brian Tyree Henry, who plays her coach. Big mentor for her. Helped her in a lot of ways, even with living at times too, growing up. The movie kind of peaks early for me, in my opinion, where what I think is going to be the ultimate climax of the movie happens probably within the first 40, 50 minutes. Kind of similar to Oppenheimer, where the big bomb, the big explosion goes off, and then there's a lot of fallout to deal with afterwards. After what she does at the Olympics, she's expecting this, that, and the other to happen, and it doesn't all play out that way.
Yeah.
And the big part of this movie that they touch on afterwards is that it's not glamorous for brands to back women when it comes to kind of violent sports like boxing, UFC.
Yeah.
They talk about how they want to see women in beach volleyball and stuff like that instead, or tennis.
Tennis, yeah, exactly.
And that's what it was. It was a big struggle for her to get kind of an equal pay, an equal fight, just to get recognition.
Yeah.
Because she's the best women boxer ever for at least the U.S., and many people really haven't heard about her.
I haven't heard of her.
Yeah, but it's a really good story, especially by the end when they're telling you a few details. And if the movie would have stayed with how the first 40, 50 minutes were and like expanded that as the whole movie, I thought it would have been better in my opinion, because I'm used to a sports movie being all the lead up, all the journey, because it has a few like time jumps early on where it skips, and I'm going, oh, I wish you would have kind of stayed like showing the training, the lead up to the Olympics.
But I get but their story was the fallout of becoming the thing she's wanted to become, right?
Yeah.
So is that what the story is?
The story then becomes, after the Olympics, the fallout in terms of her struggle, her personal struggle to get recognition and to grow the sport, which I understand, but I guess is not the most entertaining in a sense for a movie.
Yeah, or most like cinematic.
Yeah, compared to lead up to the Olympics.
Okay. Mm-hmm. If you were to do the 40 minutes, stretch it into a film, because I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
Right. You just saw this. Mm-hmm. If you do the 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Bless you. If you do the 40 minutes, does that almost kind of become like Rocky?
Maybe to an extent, but like if I was to rate this movie just off the first 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and I've just had that be a whole movie, that would be like a 9 out of 10 in my opinion. But the rest of the movie, because in its sense it's not like as interesting, but it's just as important to her real story.
Yeah.
It's more like a 7.5, 8 because it's not interesting cinematically as much, but it's important to tell
Yeah.
for what Clarissa is trying to get across. Because she said the movie's about 98% accurate in terms of her whole story and everything
Wow.
said and done in the movie. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, is this something that you're recommending to see? Like, what is your rating?
So my rating for this is an 8.3 out of 10.
Okay.
So I still think it's good. I recommend it like enough if you want more of a, as someone else said, I watched a review on, is like it's more of a drama really after the first 50 minutes.
Yeah.
The first 40 is like that sports biopic true to itself.
Okay.
So if you're interested in that kind of mixture where more drama with a good sports biopic to start, that's where I think you should go and see it. Or maybe wait to stream it, but it's definitely worth a watch, I think.
All right. Cool. Yeah. No, I thought the trailer was,
Yeah.
was intriguing.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
always like the underdog type story.
It's definitely one of those.
Okay. We also saw Nosferatu.
Yes.
This was my most anticipated movie of the year, directed by Robert Eggers. This guy's knocked it out of the park all 3 times, in my opinion,
Okay.
leading up to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So The Witch,
Okay.
one of the best indie horror movies in the last several years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Lighthouse, and then The Northman. This,
Okay.
basically The Northman was like indie filmmaker becomes mainstream and makes a big studio picture.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my favorite movies of the year.
Okay.
So I was really excited to see this, right? The trailers, he's been wanting to make this movie since The Witch.
Okay, wow.
He used to do or I don't know if it was in high school or maybe after high school. He actually did a play.
Yeah.
He directed a stage play of Nosferatu.
Oh, okay.
In
Interesting.
black and white.
Wow.
So they like wore black and white, everything. The set was black and white.
Like a little theater play somewhere?
It was a little theater play. And then he got hired to do like a more professional version of the play
Okay.
at another theater. And then he did that. And that's kind of what made him want to be a director, really.
Okay.
So, and me knowing all this, I'm like, okay, so this is what he was born to do.
Yes.
Right? And the trailers, my mind was blown by the trailers, and I guess my feeling on the movie after having seen it is I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It was great, but something was missing, I felt like.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was something that was in the story or if it was my expectations were way too high to where I felt like, oh, that's it. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
But I still loved it.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
So I came in, not knowing much besides that this is now the second time it's being remade, right? Technically, or
Yeah, because I think it was remade like
in the 70s, I want to say.
70s, and then they've done other projects surrounding this. Like Willem Dafoe actually plays Orlok in another movie that came out in 2000, I think.
Oh, okay.
Shadow of a Vampire.
All right.
And it was about the making of Nosferatu, the 1922 version.
Okay.
Yeah.
The best part of the movie for me is I think the acting from everyone.
Yeah.
Lily Rose Depp, great. Nicholas Hoult, great. His character was getting basically psychologically tortured for the first half of the movie, if not more. Felt like.
Yeah.
I knew Willem Dafoe was in it, and he's great in literally everything.
Yeah, he is.
So I was like, I was waiting for him to show up in the movie. I was like, where is he?
Yeah.
And then once he
shows
showed
up about halfway.
Yeah.
In. Yeah.
And when he shows up, it's just he's perfect.
Yeah.
Like he's playing this. He's not a doctor. He's like kind of
Well, he kind of plays like the Van Helsing type character.
Okay.
From the Dracula story, the vampire hunter.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, where he's more a believer in the supernatural explanation when you can't prove it with science.
Yeah.
And he's great in that. And it was pretty good. There's also a guy named Ralph Ineson. I think he was in this movie, or I don't know how to say his last name.
Oh, yeah, the guy with the really deep voice.
Yeah, he was in another kind of horror movie this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was great as well as another doctor in this movie.
Yeah.
So I thought acting was great. The story, like,
What do you think of Lily Rose Depp?
oh, she was fantastic. Her just like kind of, I don't know, like the body out of like acting, I guess, that she did at times where she was like looking possessed.
Her body performance. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Just the story itself wasn't like overly interesting to me. At times I was like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going, but it wasn't anything that like had me hooked. And I'm so burnt out on horror from the amount of horror I've seen this year, where I'm like, nothing can scare me now at this point. Where I'm like, there's no jump scare even getting to me now at this point, or
Yeah.
any to me.
Who we also didn't mention is Bill Skarsgård is in this movie.
Yes, that's true.
If his name was not on the poster, not in the trailers, we would have no idea that Bill Skarsgård is in this.
Oh, I forgot who it was. I didn't know.
Bill Skarsgård's not there
Yeah.
behind the prosthetics, behind the voice. That's his voice. That's Bill Skarsgård's
really?
voice.
Okay.
That's his real voice. You would not be able to tell at all.
No, I mean, you have to give credit to the makeup team for that, though, as well, with how great they did. Good job.
Yeah. And Robert Eggers is a person that, as a filmmaker myself, his movies are the movies you want to watch if you want to learn staging and framing and these things. And that's the aspect I appreciated more about this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, but everything that you said, performances, I just felt that my expectations were probably high and they weren't met, and therefore I just really, really liked it. And I would say loved it, but it didn't blow my mind like all of his other movies have before.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I'm not a big fan of horror, and this one specifically wasn't anything too special. Like, great horror movies that I enjoyed were the first two Conjurings. Those were fantastic. This one didn't hold to that kind of level for me. It's just a different kind and just not my taste, so I didn't enjoy it as much as you.
All right. What do you rate this?
For me, it's just a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah. I give it an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you recommend that people go see it or pass on it?
It depends on the person.
Okay.
If you like the jump scares, and that's your type of horror movie, the studio Blumhouse type horror movie, this movie's not for you.
I agree.
But if if you're more on the artistic side, I guess, where you appreciate the little things that I kind of appreciate, like set design, things like that, then this one obviously is for you.
Okay.
So
going with kind of back off what you said, I would say pass on it, because it really is for that special kind of niche horror crowd, it feels like, of enjoying the performances and what's being done more than anything else.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of really just a small audience, I think, in my opinion, that would really like to see this, I think.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So that's our weekend recap.
Yep.
Now let's move on to the fun part of the show. The show where we talk about our top 10.
Yes.
But I do want to list, the movies that I did enjoy that just didn't happen to make my list.
Okay.
So I'm just going to rattle them off right now. The honorable mentions are Saturday Night, A Real Pain, Alien Romulus, Twisters, Speak No Evil, Gladiator 2, September 5th, and Heretic.
Okay.
Those movies I thought are all worth watching, but they didn't make my list. What about you?
I forgot to write a natural honorable mention list, but if I was to, some that come to mind are A Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Great. A Real Pain as well. And Gladiator 2 as well. I think those are the three main ones that were close but didn't quite make it for me, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to our top 10. And I guess I'll just start.
Okay.
I'll start my
10?
number 10 first. It was this little indie horror movie that came out a little earlier in the year. It's called Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, I wanted to see this one.
And this takes place basically on the set of a late night talk show, kind of like a Jimmy Fallon, but it takes place on Halloween night in 1977. So his rival is Johnny Carson.
Okay.
Right. And his viewership has started to sink, and he is trying to find ways to boost his audience back.
Yeah.
So he gets these eccentric people onto a show that may or may not have conjured the devil on live TV.
Okay.
I love that whole concept.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that it was shot in one place for the most part. And yeah, it was just it was an enjoyable time. It was a roller coaster. Like, I loved basically all of this movie, maybe until like the last like 10 minutes.
Okay.
But it is worth watching, and it did make my top 10.
Who starred in it again? I forget. It was David. Was it David? What's his name?
I
again?
forget his name.
Okay.
I didn't write it.
Okay.
But he's been in a lot of things.
Yeah.
He was in what's that movie with Denis Villeneuve? Prisoners.
Okay.
He was in Prisoners. He was in some of the Christopher Nolan movies.
Was he in The Dark Knight?
Yeah, he was in
okay,
The Dark
I
Knight.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that was my number 10.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What's your number 10?
My number 10 was Dee Dee. This is a movie that I didn't actually even know about or going to see unless you brought it up to me. It's a coming-of-age film, a comedy drama, I'm pretty sure, that's about seeing a millennial grow up and him trying to fit in a bunch of different ways, trying to make videos, skate videos, trying to get a girlfriend, trying to make new friends, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hilarious, many great comedic moments throughout this movie. And then also really hard-hitting drama moments where you're like, this is just brutal. Like witnessing like family dynamic where you're like, wow, that's just tough to watch, and could never think of something that like just dialogue between like a mother and her kid where you're like, wow, this is where we're going. This is what's happening. And then just again goes to some somber and dark places at times with also like, I think I wrote in my notes, it reminded me of The Holdovers, where 1 minute it could be hilarious and the next we're in a very serious drama.
Yeah.
Great job bouncing those two. I thought it was a really solid movie.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's one I missed, so I would have to check that out. All right, on to number 9. Nosferatu.
Okay.
It made the list, but, as I said before, my expectations were so high that I thought this was going to be my number 1.
Okay.
Based on the trailer, I'm like, this has to be my number 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is everything I'm into. And, it's in my top 10.
Yeah.
It's number 9. But yeah, we just talked about it, so yeah. What about you? What's your number 9?
My number 9, September 5th.
Oh, okay.
One we saw together. It's really John Magaro's movie, as he's the lead person in the newsroom, trying to manage everyone, trying to manage the crisis and guide everyone. How are we going to do this? How are we going to cover this story in the best way possible? True story, really intense thriller that gets you right from the get-go and is just fantastic throughout.
Yeah.
Thought it was a really solid one, just really well done throughout, and just a brutal time, and it shows, how little and how really nothing's changed from then, before then, and after those events.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen that, I would recommend it for sure. Mm-hmm. Number 8. I'm going to go with a Pixar animated film,
Okay.
Inside Out 2.
Oh, all right.
Basically, this movie follows Riley from the first one.
Yes.
But she's not a little kid anymore. She's, becoming she's becoming a teenager.
Yeah.
And the struggles and the new feelings that come with that, right? Mm-hmm. And I think this movie was already great as I was watching it, but the third act drove it home. Mm-hmm. The personification of anxiety, it was done to perfection.
Yeah.
And I was in tears, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was, yeah.
That was a pretty good one, and that just reminded me a bit, like, it's slightly the inside, as it is in the title, the inside version of Dee Dee, where it's literally someone becoming a teenager and everything that's changing, and they deal with that, and how they go through all those changes and emotions, everything like that. Wow. So my number 8, that's your number 8, Inside Out 2?
Yep.
Mine is Young Woman in the Sea, another Disney movie starring Daisy Ridley. This is a true story. In 1926, Trudy Elderly, she attempted to swim the English Channel from France to England. It's a 21-mile trek. Did I say it right that time?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm a child.
It's brutal conditions on that trek. There's obviously the rough weather, brutal waves. Are you okay?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a laugh attack.
Extremely cold in that Atlantic Ocean.
This is crossing from England to
It's France swimming to England.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So that English.
So
channel,
that's basically Dunkirk.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what they needed to do.
But imagine swimming that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's absolutely.
Why didn't the soldiers in Dunkirk just swim across it?
I-
She did.
She did.
Or actually, I don't know if did she? I didn't see the movie.
Do you want me to spoil the movie?
No.
But she also had to endure with jellyfish, and it's a really long swim, so you don't just do it during the day.
Wow.
So it shows an incredible story. Got me a little emotional at the end. Fantastic performance by Daisy, and one of the best Disney movies I've seen that's not like a Marvel or Pixar movie in quite some time, it feels like.
Wow. Okay.
And it was also produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, so another great movie from him, who produced the Top Gun movies.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we move on to number 7.
Yes.
And this movie, I don't know why it's not my number 1, because I feel like this movie has taken a lot of my brain power.
What? Okay.
What?
Sorry.
Are you laughing at the cat?
Yes.
This movie's. I think about this movie maybe like once a day.
Really?
Yeah, so it's really weird that it's my number 7. And this movie is Longlegs.
Oh, okay. Of course.
Why do I love this movie so much? I don't know. Maybe it was because the marketing campaign. Like, I loved everything about it. They made it seem as if we were about to watch, like behind the scenes of actual true crime.
Okay.
That's not what we got in the movie, obviously,
Yeah.
but we got true crime,
Mm-hmm.
or we got true crime, but disguised. Or sorry, we got paranormal disguised as true crime.
Okay. I can see
Right.
that. Yeah.
And I love Osgood Perkins. This is the first movie that I've
Yeah.
seen him
Mm-hmm.
direct, and I'm on board with. He knows how to make movies.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that, and I'm biased because Micah Monroe, the main actress, the lead actress in
Yes.
this movie, is my favorite actress.
Oh, okay.
She's the best.
Yeah.
And I love everything about this movie. I love the dark rock and roll energy that this movie has. I thought Nicolas Cage was bonkers, just batshit insane. I love that whole opening sequence in the snow.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They don't show his face. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
and then right when he like ducks into frame to cut. Like,
Yeah.
these are just little things that I love. But anyways, 7 Longlegs.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
It had some good twists in it as well, I think, right? Pretty crazy twists.
Yeah, that end was definitely a twist for sure.
Pretty dark.
Yeah.
Number 7 for me, horror maybe a little bit, but comedy. Beetlejuice.
Wow, made
Yeah.
the list, huh?
I really like this one. I think this is one of the top 3 funniest movies I've seen with Dee Dee, and another one higher up on this list.
Wow.
I had a great time with this. I saw the first one for the first time, like just a little bit before I watched this one. And I thought this sequel, another 36-year sequel, was better in almost every way, really. I love the story between Jenna Ortega and her mom, Winona Ryder, in this one. I thought the comedy was a lot better in this one. There were some good twists. It was just really great throughout. Monica Bellucci had a nice little side plot in as well with Willem Dafoe. He was also great in this. Great ensemble. Just a really fun time for me with this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had fun with it, but I did feel that it wasn't focused. There's too many ideas coming in different directions. But as it was wrapping up, it didn't wrap up a lot of those side plots.
Yeah.
But at least it wrapped up in a sequence that I enjoyed and I thought was entertaining.
Yeah, I thought it. Yeah, definitely kind of I rewatched your out of theater reaction, then I rewatched a little bit earlier today where I was like, okay, I can kind of see what you mean, where it just kind of follows stuff happening. Yeah. And then you start to see, oh, we got to go after this, after Jenna, and then this, and then just the journeys felt earned, at least between Jenna and Winona especially, throughout by the end, where I'm like, okay, this was a well done journey and arc for each of these characters. Where I'm like, fun time, right by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was your number 7.
Yes.
On to number 6. So this movie was not on my radar at all. And I heard, this movie's good, blah, 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 just from several other movie critics.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. That movie was The First Omen,
Okay.
right? And I remember the first minute, the opening shot. From what I can remember, it's kind of a oneer. It shows a tree, then it kind of goes down and follows a character. And within 10 seconds, I was like, this is going to be a good movie. Mm-hmm. Because I knew that the filmmakers knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So immediately I was like, okay, they have my trust already.
Mm-hmm.
This opening shot is great. And the movie was great. I remember turning to, my girlfriend midway through the movie, maybe towards the end, in between middle and end. And I was like, this movie's really good, right? And she's like, yes. I was like, okay, cool. I'm not insane thinking, holy crap, this is good.
Yeah.
Neil Tiger Free. That's the main actress.
Mm-hmm.
That's her name. That she plays the nun.
Okay.
That we follow through the story.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought she gave it an Academy Award level performance.
Oh really? Yeah, she was pretty good. And now that I'm remembering more of the movie, yeah.
Yeah, and her sequence.
She was with Ralph Inees in his movie as well, right?
Yeah. Her like possession sequence towards the end.
Okay. Yeah.
What like? And I was thinking in that moment, I'm like, oh, they're not going to give it to her. They're not going to give her the nomination because this movie is a horror movie and it's coming out in the beginning of the year, but she deserved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought this movie was done in all aspects. Yeah.
All right.
The First Omen, which is not the first Omen. That one came out in 1976.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. For me, it is Alien Romulus as my number 6. Kaylee Spaney as Rain. She was great in this movie. David Johnson as Andy, as the robot, her companion. He was also fantastic. Just a lot of great action sequences in this space horror.
Yeah.
A lot of great callbacks to the first one and references. At a certain point throughout this movie, I was like, they're kind of making Kaylee this like, kind of like Ripley in another sense. It feels like at times with how with how she was being portrayed in her. And I was like, this is great. I love how it's going. Just great action in space where I said before in the first review we did is like, there's this one sequence where it kind of reminds me of this action set piece from Inception, which is a great Chris Nolan movie. And just a lot of good dad jokes as well by Andy in this movie.
Yeah, Andy was hilarious as like that like humanoid robot. I don't know why this didn't make my top 10. Maybe I should see it again because I remember thinking, "Nah, this is great." Like the filmmaking aspect, Fede Alvarez directed it. He's, every movie he's made I loved so far.
Yeah. It had some good jump scares and some just great action where everything you're like, oh, this is just working out. They're fighting for survival and it's happening all organically in a great way. It was just a fantastic watch and a pretty good movie in my opinion.
Yep. So that was your number 6?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to move into our number 5.
Yes.
And the first one surprised me. And it made me excited to see the second one.
Okay, sequel.
And this movie surprised me. Smile 2.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I love these movies so much. Like, I thought this movie was great. It was a huge improvement from the first one, and I love the first one. I think these movies are terrifying.
Yeah.
Now, I get that some people might think it's ridiculous because in Smile 2, there was scenes that were truly terrifying to me.
Yeah.
And then the audience, some of them were like laughing out loud.
Really?
And I'm thinking like, okay, are they laughing as like a coping mechanism? Like, haha, like they laugh because they're so scared?
Yeah.
Or do they think what they're seeing is silly? And I think if you're not, I don't know, like this like smile, I don't know, it's not a gimmick, but this concept of this smiling like demon thing, that's it. It's silly, but it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I don't know where, I think my train left the station.
The opening sequence is fantastic.
The opening sequence is great. The whole thing, the ending. Yeah. How are they going to make a Smile 3? I don't think you can.
Not really.
Right? Like they kind of
You don't leave-
dropped the mic. I think literally
You
and
don't leave,
figuratively.
you don't leave room for much to.
Yeah.
Well, you understand how it would happen, but you don't leave
Yeah.
room for, I think, much of a story to be told.
Yeah, I think that was the big mic drop on this Smile franchise. Parker Finn, I think that's the director.
Yeah,
I
that
think
sounds
that's
right.
his name. Man, he's a good filmmaker. Like he's doing these like real interesting. This is a studio movie.
Mm-hmm.
These movies don't have the right to be so creative. Like that one scene where she's in her apartment, and the choreographers, her dance choreographers, are like
Attacking.
in sync as like the Smile entity.
Yeah.
Like, that's so good artistically.
Mm-hmm.
And I do get that, there's some jump scares in this that are, I guess you could call them cheap, just because it's just like loud sound and a cut of like to something. But it works.
I don't think they were cheap.
That exactly, and that's why I feel like some people that call those jump scares cheap, I don't think that is deserved. I don't think they deserve to be called cheap.
Those jump scares, like this movie had like 2 or 3 really good ones. Like, oh my god, like just like it completely like moved back in my seat. It was like
There was one
panicked.
where I literally my body almost ran out of the theater. Like I leaped out of my seat so hard that like it wasn't on a conscious level. Like my body was ready to dip.
Yeah.
I'm here trying to watch the movie, but my body was out the door.
No, it had a few really good ones in this.
Yeah. Smile 2 is my number 5.
All right, nice.
What is your number 5?
My number 5, Furiosa.
Sorry to cut you off. Who is the main actress in Smile 2? Because I think she deserves some credit.
Good lord, what's her? I can't remember it off the top of my head, and it's annoying me too.
Let's look that up, because I do want to give that.
Is it Riley
credit.
something, or is that her?
If that's her
I
character
think
name.
That might be. That's what it is. Naomi Scott.
Naomi Scott. She plays like this Dua Lipa type pop star character.
Up and coming, big pop star, or maybe already big pop star.
Yeah, she's another one that is probably gave an Academy Award level performance.
And probably won't get nominated, right?
No, but deservingly so. She should deserve the nomination.
Does the Academy not like horror that much? It feels like, or
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
They, most kind of vote on
drama.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, back to my number 5.
Sorry, Furiosa.
Furiosa, a 9-year now prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, following Charlize Theron's character, played by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yep.
With the main villain in this movie being Chris Hemsworth. Action throughout, barren wasteland, that feel of just hopelessness almost everywhere, with everyone like fighting for a little bit of water or oil or whatever. Just great performances, big action set pieces. There's a 15-minute action sequence on the Fury Road, which took 78 days to shoot and required 200 stunt people on set every day.
Wow.
It was this big sequence that they said they all got like some kind of wine as a celebration afterwards about this big set piece. So
nice.
There's just awesome. It's vengeance. It's just fight for your life. Really great movie. And just Anya Taylor-Joy was great throughout. I thought it was pretty awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Furiosa, I liked it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not as big of a George Miller fan as other people.
Okay.
I didn't really like Fury Road, and I know I'm in the minority on that. I don't know what it is, and it's just like, yeah, it's good.
I just loved all the car sequences and action sequences there were great.
Yeah.
Because
they were great. Yeah.
In normal chase sequences in movies, this one feels different because it's in the desert. Their cars are not like all pretty. They're not Beamers. Their stuff is breaking, falling apart. They're getting resourceful with whatever weapons they have.
Yeah.
It's raw. It's brutal. Everything goes.
Yeah.
It's just, it takes it up another level in everyone's fight to just get by or have power.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right. On to number 4.
Yes.
This is, I believe, the newest addition to my list.
Oh, okay.
Honora.
Wow.
I love Sean Baker's movies. I didn't see Tangerine, but I've seen The Florida Project, Red Rocket. There might have been another one, but anyways, this guy is a filmmaker that like takes like a slice of like someone's obscure lifestyle and then gives it to us to watch.
Okay.
Right? And his movies are funny and they're heartfelt and I feel like they're just real human stories, right?
Okay.
And I loved following this story, this, I guess you would say, stripper / escort, who basically gets paid by this Russian oligarch kid to kind of be his wife.
Yeah.
And, this girl that doesn't really come from much and how she navigates, trying to hold on to her Cinderella story, I guess.
Okay.
And I loved it. This movie was hilarious. There's like a 20-minute scene in the middle of the movie the whole thing is just hilarious. I'm just dying, just joke,
Okay.
rapid fire. And then by the end, it just rips your heart out. The last shot of the movie just cuts to black and just leaves you going, oh my God, my heart.
Is that 20-minute sequence, like, is that a one take or is it just a long scene? Or
No, it's just a long scene in a like a living room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think part of it
you didn't
played
see
into
Honora yet, right?
No, that's one I wanted to see,
Okay.
mainly because everyone's talking about it in the Best Picture nomination category and for Mikey Madison for Best Actress. So
Yeah,
for those
she's
two reasons, I
incredible.
really want to see it to the Oscar talk it's got.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
On to your number 4.
My number 4, The Wild Robot.
Ah.
So my top 5 is the same from as we talked about earlier in one of our earlier episodes.
Okay.
I just moved some around just a little bit. So Wild Robot's gone from number 3 to 4. Like you said before in your Out of Theater reaction, it's just a great movie. It's heartfelt. It's about parenting. It's about love. It also feels like it's a robot propaganda a little bit.
Yeah, like what if like AI made this movie for us to like,
Oh, robots.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, like, within the first 10 minutes, they make you feel so much sympathy for a robot. And I'm going, wait, what's happening here? How is this supposed to be happening? Because when you said, like, this is one of the best movies of the year, I was, like, I'm, like, going in already with this expectation of, all right, what are you going to do? Like, as I'm watching, I'm like, best movie of the year, right? Best movie of the year with every scene. I'm like, all right, how are you going to be that good? And then just every bit, it's getting better and better. And the story's great. The very last line of dialogue, I think, spoke in this movie was just perfect and just made everyone emotional, me included. And then I remember someone on my right, as like the credits started playing, like this woman was like saying to her boyfriend, how dare this movie? Like she just kept saying that, how dare this movie? And then like was like had like tissues and was like trying to keep it together. It was just fantastic watching. Like you said before, beautiful animation and cinematography.
And that is why The Wild Robot's my number 3.
Number 4? Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, that's your number 4.
Oh, okay.
Wild Robot's my number 3 for everything that you listed and more. It felt like once it ended, I'm like, oh, I just saw a classic movie.
Yeah.
Like this movie feels like this came out 20 years ago and it was already a classic.
Yeah.
But it's new and it just came out. Like that's what it felt like, right?
It's just so special. It's done well.
Yeah. And
There's so much great comedy too in it. I forgot.
It's funny. It's heartfelt. The director and writer of this, the guy that did story on The Lion King, all the original OG
Classics.
Disney movies classics. Yeah, he returns to do this, and it's like makes sense. You got the right guy. Yeah.
All right. So that was your number 3, right?
Yep.
My number 3, One Life. I've talked about it multiple times before. This is the movie about Nicholas Winton, real man, played by Anthony Hopkins in his later years and Johnny Flynn in his early years. The early years, this is 1938, 1939 Prague. Man from England goes to Prague, I think on a business trip. He sees a lot of kids suffering. It's the start of World War II. Hitler's moving on, invading all these countries. He's like, we got to do something. He says to the people that he's there with, we got to help these kids. They come up with a plan with him and a few other people. They're very ordinary people, nothing special.
Yeah.
They come up with a plan to help and save a lot of kids. It's really powerful movie. It's extremely well done. There's one scene in it where I'm like, when I watched it on a rewatch at home, I was like, this is kind of a haunting scene where I'm like, oh my god, it's just dark now, and it's just the clip. There's a clip that's in the movie that's happened in real life. They basically recreated it perfectly, and it's emotional. And seeing everyone react like, wow, this is really powerful. Just fantastic movie, really well done. I think everyone should give this a watch. This is a really good true story World War II movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. One Life is your number 3.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2 is a little bit of a cheat, but I don't care.
I know what you're saying already.
So, this movie I had no interest in watching. I didn't even want to watch the trailer.
Wow.
Because I had no interest. Why would I see a movie like this? You know? And other people recommended it. You recommended it. And I missed its initial release because I was so uninterested in this.
Yeah.
This movie, by the way, is Godzilla -1 asterisk minus color.
Yes.
The reason it's on my list is because the minus color version came out this year, not last year.
Yeah.
That's why I'm talking about this movie. That's why it's on this list. And the idea of minus color was, I guess, it's just another little marketing push. Like, hey, we're releasing in black and white for you film nerds. And I was like, I had no interest before, but now that it's in black and white, yeah, I'll go see it. Dude, this movie was so good. Godzilla is the personification of his trauma. And as he, is feeling the weight of the world, Godzilla's getting bigger, right? Yeah. And it was perfection.
There's a great speech in there near the end by one of the generals right before they go to battle. Fantastic speech.
Yeah.
Great drama story throughout.
I love that sequence when Godzilla comes ashore and just nukes the town.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the fallout and him, it's raining ash.
Yeah.
And he's so heartbroken because, the one he loved is, and man, was this good. And do you know why it's called -1?
I do not.
I thought this was interesting. So at the end of World War II, because this movie takes place, in the aftermath of World War II. And I guess like Japan was in a state, having lost the war, that they were in the state of like, they're negative.
Yeah.
They're below 0. They're -1.
Especially with the bombings too, which make it all the worse for them, especially.
Exactly. So that's why it's called -1.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
I thought that was interesting.
That was your number 2, right?
Godzilla -1 minus color is my number 2 film of the year.
All right. My number 2, Deadpool and Wolverine. Wow. This is my most anticipated movie of the year. It lived up to all the hype and expectations. The comedy throughout was fantastic. It's the only movie this year where I literally started choking on my popcorn during one of the jokes because it was so funny and caught me off guard.
Yeah.
All the cameos, I basically forgot the one that was confirmed, and the others just blew me away where I was like, oh my god, I didn't know this person was going to show up in this movie. Literally, it had some of me going, holy shit, this person's in it right now? We're doing this?
Yeah.
This is awesome. Do I spoil one of the cameos? Or just keep it?
Yeah, why not?
So Channing Tatum as Gambit is hilarious.
Yeah.
Every line is just, everyone's just dying trying to understand him. Ryan Reynolds is making jokes about it. It's just fantastic throughout. Just an awesome win for the MCU. Just great movie throughout.
It was a good time. It was fun. You know, it didn't make my lists, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. On to number 1.
Yes.
And, you know, the ones watching probably could already guess what this movie is.
Yep.
Just by how big this movie was, and that we didn't mention it in our, you know, honorable mentions and not in the rest of our list, right?
I think we have the same one, right?
And that movie is Dune Part 2.
Yes.
Why was Dune Part 2 your number 1 of the year?
It's the sequel, Denis Villeneuve's 2.5, 3-year sequel. And it gets you all the payoff from the first one where you're like, all right, it's vengeance. It's Paul Atreides' time to get back at the people who wronged him and murdered parts of his family.
Yeah.
The sandworm sequences are epic.
Yeah.
And they belong on that IMAX screen where you're like, oh my God.
Yep.
The sandworm rides, the very beginning where the hunter's going after him in that big expanded shot are jumping in these like kind of exosuits from like...
Oh, when they're just like floating up.
Yes.
That is so beautiful. A lot of these shots in this movie were beautiful. And the shots, you know, Greg Fraser was the one that was the director of photography. That's fine.
All right.
Was the director of photography on this movie. And he's not returning for the third one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He has Batman 2.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's the superstar of this movie, I think.
Yeah, no.
I mean, there's multiple superstars. But, you know, this guy's, the way he frames and the way they shoot this movie is just incredible.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I love the ending.
Yeah.
But when it ends, it's like it leaves you like, holy crap. You know, like you don't know if you enjoyed, or at least for me, I'm like, I don't know if I enjoyed this because I feel so much. I'm just like paralyzed. When the movie ended, I was paralyzed. I was just like, what?
Because this movie took a turn where you're like, oh, this is what's happening in order for the movie to fulfill itself and for Paul Atreides to go on.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen. A great ending fight between Paul and Austin Butler's character. I think Fade is, or how you say is part of his name. Great fight sequence. Austin Butler played a great psychopath throughout. Yeah. This like demented, sick psychopath. Brutal killer. Just awesome, fantastic movie.
And I've only read half of the first Dune book. But the story of Dune, I guess, is what would you say, an allegory for, you know, should we put our faith in these figures?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Should we give these figures power? And, you know, when we watch movies, normally, you know, there's a hero. We root for this person. You know, we're waiting for them to, you know, do the thing. And that's not what this movie is.
No.
You know? Because who the character becomes is I don't think is a character we're going to be rooting for in the third one.
Yes, but it also I think depends on who he's going to be playing against or what that other character will be as the antagonist or protagonist, depending on where Dune 3 goes, because I do not know what the book is or has in store.
And who knows if it's going to be a direct adaptation or if Denis Villeneuve might change some things, because apparently the Dune prophecy, I think it's prophecy?
Yes.
Or Dune Messiah, sorry.
He has to change some things a bit. He's already talked about.
Yeah, that...
Because of the timelines of how some of the actors and age and how it would work.
Yeah. But...
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
sure.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it too. Like, I don't feel super confident that it's my number one.
Okay.
But it's not number 2 or number 3 or number 4, so it has to be number 1.
I can understand that too, because I'm like thinking back on it, I was going, all right, those epic sandworm sequences, the sound, the visuals, where I was like, oh my God, what am I witnessing right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just overall pretty epic time.
All right. That wraps up the top 10 list.
Yep.
There are some movies that I did not get to see that, you know, you meant that obviously didn't make my list.
Yeah.
Right. Some new movies like The Brutalist, that's still playing in theaters right now.
A very
Currently.
limited release still right now, I believe.
Yep. A Complete Unknown, the Timothy Chalamet, biopic of
Bob Dylan.
Sorry. Nickel Boys. I saw the trailer for that. That looks pretty good. Baby Girl. Might go see that. And then Dee Dee, which was in your list.
Yes.
That's one I've been wanting to see for a while, and I just haven't gotten a chance to. What about you?
For me, The Brutalist as well. I really want to see that since it's this big epic.
Yep.
It's got a really great reviews. Adrian Brody. It seems like it'd be pretty. I just want to know more about this struggle, seeing how it's really going to pay off, because the trailers really haven't given away much at all about what this movie's about.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of room to play with in the trailers, in my opinion, because 3.5 hour movie, you could show a lot and really not be showing much at the same time still.
Yep.
So I really want to see that. Honora, like you said, it's on your list. Best Picture category has been talked about a lot, and Mikey Madison for Best Actor. So for those two, Best Actress. So for those two reasons, I really want to see that. A Complete Unknown, also want to see for. I've heard pretty good things about it from a friend as well, and it seems like it could be an interesting biopic. It's not as high a priority for me as The Brutalist and Honora. And then also re-releasing in theaters this week. 7. 30-year anniversary in IMAX for the first time ever. Definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, definitely want to check that out as well. There's not anything wide coming out this week.
Nope.
So the show, I don't know what the show is going to look like next Monday.
It might be some of these that we just talked about, possibly.
Yeah. But anyways, that wraps up our show today.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for more of the Out of Theater reactions. Yep. They'll be posted, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.